Hey guys, so I feel like it's been forever. I guess it kind of has been. It's been like 5 months. So I had to rewatch my last video to see where I left off. And so it looks like I left off in February, which was we had no follicles on 100 milligrams of Clomid, and I have my calendar right here to help me remember everything. And I wasn't going to know anything until March 6th with you guys. It looks like I ended up going in March 4th. My hair is a complete mess. I decided to straighten it. It's summertime. It's August, obviously. So from February to August. Geez. So anyways, and I'm gonna try not to ramble. So it looks like on March 4th, I went in instead of March 6th, and my progesterone was up to 11.8. And that was a cycle day 21 blood draw. After the Clomid, it seems that I did not ovulate that month. So we went on, and that was on cycle day 21. On cycle day 27. So it seems that the progesterone lengthened my cycle. Again, I'm looking at the calendar because it's been months. So I actually started a new cycle on the 10th, and that means on the 12th, the 11th or 12th, I was supposed to start 150 to 200 milligrams. I want to say we were going to up it to a full 200 milligrams of Clomid to see if that would jumpstart the follicles, because that was devastating. Well, on the 10th, which is exactly when the new cycle started, I got so sick in March. So sick. It lasted for a good 2 weeks, if not a little bit more. Actually, I think it did roll over into April, but it was bad. It started with just like an ear infection again, and then a sinus infection, then it went to full-blown upper respiratory infection, which turned into pneumonia. So I was so flippin' sick, it was ridiculous. So I couldn't start my Clomid. I got sick as soon as I was supposed to start. I was devastated already from February. But I just felt like, okay, I cannot take these hormones on top of being like, my oxygen levels were bad. Like, I just felt like death. And of course, this was about the time that COVID started to come about. I don't know if that's what I had or not. Like, this was legit, like the timing had just started. So Jeff got exposed to COVID at work the same time. So we were both sick in quarantine. He wasn't sick, he ended up not having it, but back then the test results still took 2+ weeks to get back. So from my calendar, it says quarantine started on the 11th. So that was cycle day 2. So we did nothing this cycle in March. I did continue to do ovulation kits, it looks like. And I got a positive ovulation test on the 25th. Jeff's birthday is the 26th, which would be cycle day 17. So we, had a normal month, whether I was sick or not. It looks like a pretty normal month. So on cycle day 16, I had that positive ovulation test, and then we roll over into April. It was I think the 27th or 28th is when he went back to work. It was a couple days after his birthday that I got his test results back, and it was negative, and this would have been, so I ovulated by the test 2 weeks after I got my cycle, pretty much. So then we move into April. At 7 DPO was the first. April 1st, it was cycle day 23. I was Tuesday, which would be the next day on cycle day 24, to 25 is when I would get my period. So, Friday night, I started testing with just these. I was still doing ovulation tests. So on Thursday and Friday, I did ovulation tests. Thursday was negative. Friday was positive. That was cycle day 25. My period should be here, right? So Friday night, I took one of the pregnancy tests that come in here too. I always buy the bundle that have the ovulation and the pregnancy test. This is just my favorite brand, Pregnate. I had to think for a second. I started buying these because of the cute. They were cute, but they're wide and they just work really well, come to find out. So that Friday night, the test was like, I don't know, I just knew that I wasn't going to get a positive, right? The pregnancy test, the ovulation test was positive on the 25th, on cycle day, not on the 25th, on cycle day 25. And then the pregnancy test, we came back a couple hours later, and I saw a little line, but I was like, oh, it's probably evap. It's been a couple hours, because those will give you evaps every once in a while. Then that Saturday, cycle day 27th, that night, I had taken another pregnancy test out of these. And again, a couple hours later, Jeff saw it because I had left it on the sink. And I thought I had saw maybe a shadow, but I meant we all have lion eyes, right? Like, come on. And so, if this is taking forever, I'm so sorry. I feel like I'm rambling, but I'm trying not to edit and just upload and get this uploaded. So, Jeff made me take another test because he saw that one on the counter, and it was clearly positive. Not clear, like, it was still very, very faint, but he saw it. So he was like, hello? Do you have something to tell me? And I was like, no. And he was like, take another one. So I took another one. It was clearly positive. We searched and searched, because normally we keep first response in the house. We couldn't find any, but I had some rapid results downstairs that he had bought a while ago, and they were rapid results, and I heard terrible things about rapid results. So I put them in a drawer and forgot about them because they're not as good as early results, right? Well, we were desperate, so we were like, okay. We used one, and it instantly came back a very faint, but it was a positive. So at this time, we were 7, 8, 9, 10 DPO. So 10 DPO at night, we got our positive. Like, it was for sure positive. So on that Sunday, I started progesterone, 200 milligrams twice a day orally. I got my blood drawn on that Monday, which would be cycle day 28, which would be 12 DPO. My HCG was only at a 15, and my progesterone was only at a 4. So I got the phone call of, hey, like, you're right at the borderline. We don't want to for sure call it yet, but your progesterone isn't looking well. So then on Tuesday, cycle day 29, which is 13 DPO, my HCG was at a 36. We didn't, that was a hospital draw, not my doctor's draw, so I don't know the progesterone on that one. So it doubled in 24 hours instead of 48 hours, so that was great. So then on cycle day 30, which is 48 hours from the first blood draw, HCG was 64, my progesterone only rose to a 6. So we for sure were pregnant at this point, but my progesterone was still a no-go. So they switched me to suppository progesterone to see if that would help kick it up. So from the 8th, that was on a Wednesday, they put me on, I just stayed on the couch, and so Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, I was cool, chilling on the couch, whatever, worried, sick about my progesterone. So the following Monday, my blood work, my HCG was 311, and my progesterone was at 12.8. So my progesterone doubled, and my HCG was through the roof. I was ecstatic, like, okay, this is what we needed. Progesterone was still low, but it had doubled from 4 days of starting vaginally, so we were super stoked on that. Well, then that was on Monday. On Wednesday, I started having left pains. They advised me to go into the hospital. My HCG was at a 660. We tried an ultrasound. You can't see anything, especially with a level at 660. So we couldn't see a sac, we couldn't see anything. But again, my HCG doubled. So the next day, I started bleeding. That's on the 16th of April. I was told that it could be completely normal. It could be from the suppositories. It just could be normal because my HCG was rising and it was doubling, right? Well, then the next day, so that was Wednesday, my HCG was a 660. Thursday is when I started bleeding. Friday, I had to go back to the hospital because the bleeding got really bad, again with left pain. And my HCG only went up 4 points in 48 hours. So it was only at a 664. The hospital said there was nothing wrong, whatever. I was still bleeding. They said it could be fine. So that was on a Friday. Well, Saturday I was still bleeding, whatever. Saturday night I had the most excruciating pain, and the only thing that I can compare it to, because I was in such denial, was constipation. Like, I legit was telling myself, oh, I'm so constipated. And I was on the heating pad, and I remember waiting until Jeff went to sleep to just start crying and agonizing pain. I didn't want to let him know how bad it really was. It hurt. So then that was on Saturday night, and I was still bleeding. Well, then on Sunday, I was trying Sundays. I've probably mentioned it before. We go thrift shopping on Sundays. That's our thing. And on April 19th, we were out and about, and I was trying to be a trooper, man. I was trying so hard to be a trooper, and I guess he just saw it through, because he was like, well, maybe we should get something to eat, and then went to the hospital. He drove me to the hospital. So my HCG was right around 1,000. So once again, that Friday, it was at 664. It jumped up to 1,000. 2 days later, still not what you want to see, but it was progress. We tried another ultrasound. It just wasn't high enough to see anything. So they sent me back for emergency surgery, because at this point they couldn't 100% confirm that it was an ectopic pregnancy, but everything in between the lines showed that it was an ectopic pregnancy. And so the 19th, it was at night. With COVID, Jeff could not come into the hospital. They met him at the doors to sign the paperwork and to give me pajamas and clothes and stuff. I have pictures of the surgery and of where it was located and where the baby was. So I have those. So I had that surgery on the 19th at night. I got discharged probably at 11 or midnight. The following Monday, I was still spotting a little bit, and then I completely stopped bleeding. And then on Thursday, I went to the doctor for my repeat blood draws to see if my HCG was going down, and it had went down from 1,000 on Sunday to 35 on Thursday. And then on that Friday is when I officially had my first cycle or period after surgery. So, moral of the story, March, we had no medication, no nothing. We conceived on our own. It was an ectopic, and that, I feel like it's been, 4 months now? So I thought that I could talk about it now, and it's still, it's a lot easier to talk about now. So we had never announced that we were pregnant or anything. That made it easier. I did wait until after the surgery, and I did announce that we had an ectopic pregnancy. Jeff was amazing. He washed my hair. He bathed me. Surgery was easy. They ended up being able to save my tube. So that was great. My tube did not rupture. They said I did have a bunch of internal bleeding, but they said that if I would have waited till the next morning, it would have ruptured. So we're glad that we went in there when we went in there. Moving on to, so with an ectopic, the protocol is 3 months or 3 cycles, or 4 cycles, 3 months, vice versa, 4 cycle. I can't. When the ectopic happened, we lost our baby. We lost our baby, and there was no way to. I've had miscarriages, I've had chemical pregnancies, and this was obviously a first of ectopic, and so this was completely, I grieved, and I'm still grieving in a way, but at the same time, like, everything happens for a reason. So May, June, and July, no, May, it looks like at the very beginning of May, I did some ovulation tests up until I got a positive on cycle day 16 again. But that was the last time I did an ovulation test, was on Mother's Day. So that was, since May, I haven't done anything. We have been healing. It's just crazy to think that it is the 1 month that we were not on any medication, and I'm wondering if it was coming off the Clomid, if that is what triggered me to actually release an egg. I have no clue. We don't know why it happens. I don't think anybody knows ever why anything happens like that, but it happened on my left side. My right side in 2013 was the side that they took a softball-sized cyst off of my ovary, and it had my tube and ovary all knotted and twisted up, and he was able to save it. But anytime that we've done follicle monitoring, I've always been on the left side. I've never been on the right side. And now that the right side, they were able to save the tube, but we haven't looked to see if I was able to ovulate off that tube yet. So fast forward, May, nothing. June, nothing. My cycles went back down to 24 to 25 days. Now we are in August, and so I had a new cycle on the 6th, and it is just now the 11th. I did finally go back to I went to the doctor last Friday, and I was like, okay, I'm ready to try again. I didn't think, we kept saying we were going to wait until late fall, early winter to try again. And once June, July hit, I was like, okay, I'm ready. But we both knew deep down we weren't exactly ready, but then the more we talked about it, the more we were ready. So we went ahead and we are taking just a approach of, we started out on Clomid 150 milligrams instead of jumping back up to that 200 milligrams, but we didn't want to start out on a low dose because they weren't working. So I started Clomid 150 milligrams Saturday. It is now Tuesday, and I have not feeling any side effects, which is great. We are going to, I'll start testing as soon as I'm done with my Clomid for ovulation, and then we are going to trigger. We're not going to do an IUI. If I am able to get a positive, everything is still completely new to us. So I guess I should make maybe a new vlog or whatever for that one, for this month, but that's what happened to us. So March, we conceived, we found out early April, and we lost our baby on April 19th. It had implanted into my left tube. So that's where I've been. I feel like I just ghosted, but I wasn't ever ready to talk about it. So now with the new cycle starting and all of this, a couple months later, 5 months later, I feel like it's time to talk about it, because I'm going to want to be talking about the new cycles.